Hey everybody, and welcome to a new project of mine. My name's Addison. This is a really new thing for me. I've never done any official recorded content for Magic before, but it's a thing I'm really passionate about. It's one of my favorite hobbies. I've been playing since Theros Block, and I've been playing Commander since the 2014 Precon release. Came up with this idea after watching Joey Schultz on the EDH Recast. He went over his history of Commander decks that he's built over the years and kind of gave his thoughts on them and was reflecting and kind of ranked them out in a tier list. I wanted to do it mainly as a exercise for myself, but if there's anyone out there who picks up something useful from this or helps inspire them to check out some of these cool legends or avoid some of them even, then I think that'd be fun. And this has also been just getting into the making content has kind of been on the wish list for me for a while, and I kind of have a good rhythm with work now and am hoping to maybe explore this realm of content creation a little bit more. So I pulled a list of all the legends I have built a physical deck for and have played at least a game with. If you watched Joey's video, it was 2 hours long and he went over 40-ish commanders, so I'm guessing this will be a long one. Instead of doing a traditional tier list layout like you see in other videos, I was having a hard time finding a program that wasn't riddled with ads all over the page, and pulling 160 images into that thing would taken a long time. So I'm just going to do it through Architect. And so the ratings, you have S tier at the top. These are decks I absolutely love. I want to play them every time there's a commander get together. So yeah, these are the greats. These are all, of course, my opinion. Not everyone has the same strategy. And this isn't a ranking of power level, although sometimes it goes hand in hand. But this is more just general enjoyment and what I want out of a game of Commander. And you'll hear more about that as we go through this list. So after S tier, there's A tier. I kind of put out a little explanation. So they're really good decks that are fun, or I have good memories on them. B tier, they're good. They did what I was expecting it to. Maybe it was an experiment of some sort, trying to hone in on the flavor of deck or strategy that I ultimately ended up with, but not one that I'm gonna go out and rebuild. C tier just kind of lands in the middle. Didn't like it, didn't hate it. D tier, this is probably the decks I've played once or twice, saw what the deck is supposed to do, and decided not to play it again and took it apart promptly. And F tier is just that was just flat out mistake. It was either way too broken, or wasn't fun for the table, or just was a thing I don't want to do in Magic. So yeah, bottom of the pile for those. So yeah, that's kind of the ranking, and I'll probably try to break this into hour segments, and we'll just do these in parts until the list is done. And then, all right, away we go. Starting with Alela, Artful Provocateur. So Alela, I picked her up the first round of Brawl lists, precons that they made. I think she's cool. Super good stats. Meaningful little buff, excuse me. in the artifact and enchantment spell angle was really cool. So this was kind of my first foray into Esper, because Esper to me before this was just very controlling and combo-y. But then Layla came along, and I don't know, something just made me want to try her. So I played the precon a little bit. I upgraded it to a full-fledged commander deck. Yeah, and it wrecked. I played it as Esper aggro, had a very low creature count, but you didn't really need it, because with Alela out, every cheap artifact or enchantment you played would make a 1/1. And it was really good at blocking. It had evasion. And those 2/1s with Alela's buff, that damage adds up really quick. And I won a surprising amount of games with her. Now the downside is the deck didn't really work if Alela kept getting removed. Yeah, I think she's a really cool design. The Death Touch, like, people hate swinging into Death Touch. You can go a lot of different ways with her. You can go enchantment, Voltron, or artifact. More artifact synergies. Yeah, I think she's a lot of fun, and I'm going to put her in A tier. Alright, Animar, Soul of Elements. Commander considered by the community pretty broken, which he is. I built him... Well, my first foray with Animar was actually for tiny leaders. I wanted to make a Animar Hydra list, since he gives you that discount, that generic 1 less discount for each 1/1 counter on him. That counts toward the X cost in Hydra spells. So theoretically, if you have Animar with 4 1/1 counters on him, then you cast a Hydra spell for 0 in the X, it'll come in with 4 1/1 counters. A fun idea. In execution for tiny leaders, it was way too slow. I got slaughtered by my friends in the league we were doing. But it was interesting. And then a year or two later, I think it was Tomer from MTG Goldfish. He had an article about morph creatures and using Animar to cast morph creatures for free. And I thought that was a super cool idea, so I made an Animorphs deck. And it was really fun. It really made me fall in love with morphs, which I already thought were cool because they came out in cons, and that was like one of the first blocks that I was really immersed into Magic and loved that format and have really good memories about it. So it was just all the good things coming together. And Animar was a really good commander for that deck. He's very hard to remove. He has protection from 2 of the better removal colors. He was a lot of fun. I think I built him as a Primal Surge deck. So for those of you who don't know, Primal Surge is a big splashy green sorcery that when you cast it, you keep flipping cards off the top of your deck until you no longer hit a permanent. Well, if you build the deck so Primal Surge is the only non-permanent in the deck, you get to flip your whole deck into play, which is fun, and then you have a Haste Enabler and just smack everyone to death. That was a fun way to win once or twice, and then the deck kind of lost its novelty a little bit. So I would say, from the Animorph side, Animar is, I would say, a B. He was good. I'm not going to build him again because there's a better morph commander and a more fun morph commander, in my opinion, that we will get to later down the list. And you experienced Magic players can probably already guess who that is. But yeah, B tier for Animorphs. If it was just a generic Animar deck that's trying to get up to an Ancestral Statue loop and then cast a bunch of Eldrazi for free, that ain't for me. That'd probably be a D or an F, but I don't think I've built him like that before, so probably can't even rank him on those grounds. But moving on. Archangel Avacyn. This card. I think this card's so cool. I remember when Shadows of Innistrad was getting spoiled, and I was already hyped for that. I was reading the story. I loved the original Innistrad. I have the art book and everything. That's just like werewolf vampires. That's everything up my alley. And I saw her, and I think this was flip cards were pretty new. That might have been the first set they did flip cards. And I thought, like, wow, what a card. The flash and giving it your board indestructible, and then flipping into a really cool other side. Yeah, man, it was just ticking all the boxes. And I remember pre-ordering this card. It's probably one of the first cards I've ever pre-ordered. As a commander, I couldn't figure out how to get her to work. I tried some Voltron build, I'm sure. Yeah, it was just kind of hard at the time to really control when she flips, and usually if I had a lot of small stuff, it was killing a lot of my stuff. And I don't know. I just kind of floundered with what she was trying to do. I think I like her better than the 99. Having the flash trick in the command zone kind of gives it away. Everyone's waiting for that. I would... she's probably the first C. She didn't offend me, I just didn't know what to do with her. But I think you're cool, Avacyn. Atraxa. I grabbed this precon. This was the only precon in that set I grabbed. It was definitely the hype precon during that cycle. And yeah, she's good. She's popular for a reason. Probably a little too pushed, but the variety of ways you can go with her is really fun. I ran her for a while just as a straight up +1 counter deck. And it was fine. I've brewed lists around Planeswalkers and Infect and janky artifacts like Lux Cannon or Aetherworks Marvel, which I think would be a fun list, and some of the lists I've seen revolving in that strategy I think do look interesting. This one's just kind of... it's kind of boring by now because you see it everywhere, and oh look, she's still number 1. No wonder you see it everywhere. So yeah, not super interested in building her anytime soon, but I appreciate the hype during those pre-con sets. Can we just mention how much I miss the hype for one pre-con set of commanders each year? Back when they were kind of figuring out how commander ticks, that was just really an exciting time, just getting to kind of pour over the lists and see the new legends coming out. And yeah, I just miss those days. This is probably a separate conversation about the state of design of Magic, but yeah, just as an aside. But Atraxa, I'm going to put you in B tier. You're definitely good. Probably not going to build you anytime soon, though. Aurelia, the Warleader. I think she's another one I like in the 99. Having extra combat in the command zone, get you focused down pretty quick. I like watching Despair Faction on YouTube. He's like the Boros connoisseur. Really knows how to handle the color pairing well, and he has some Aurelia lists that I tried to draw inspiration from. I'm gonna put her in C tier. I think she's I think she's fine. I love her in the 99, like I said. She goes in any aggressive deck running red and white. Yeah, sweet card design too. I have the From the Vaults Angels version of her, and she looks really nice in foil. Baba Lysaga, Night Witch. This was inspired after watching Joey, again from EDH Rec. This is like his baby. And she's really cool. I love Golgari. One of my favorite dual color pairings, if not my favorite. Was kind of looking for something in that color pairing that would excite me, and wanted to try her out. So I built a semi-budget list, kind of off of a template, Joey provided, and it was fun. It's a fun little puzzle. Trying to arrange up the 3 different card types and setting it up to keep using her ability multiple turns. I just found it hard to progress the game. Not that I didn't win a game or two with her. She was just... When you're giving up permanents, it's harder to advance your board state. And maybe my ratios were totally off. Like, I don't have as much hands-on time. And I've seen Joey play the deck. And it's very good. And looks like he can do really cool stuff. I guess I just didn't stick with it long enough to fully experience all that, or maybe there wasn't the novelty of what I was trying to do wore off quicker. So I took her apart for some other projects. I'm gonna put this at B. Baeloth is awesome. I love Baeloth. I have him paired with which background? Oh, Criminal Past. I haven't paired with Criminal Past. So he came about. My friends and I, we do a Christmas deck exchange each year, and I really like Goad. Goad is a really fun mechanic. I like how it keeps motivates action. Really disrupts Dirtly players, which my playgroup has had its fair share of Dirtly decks before. And yeah, there was a year there where they went really hard in the Goad. He might have come from that year, but I thought the Baldur's Gate set had so many cool designs, and so when I saw Baeloth was what Baeloth did, I had to build around him. So if you get him, you get 5-6 creatures in your graveyard, he's probably goading most of, if not all, the creatures on the board. And then you profit by getting treasure tokens off of it. It's great. So I built a pretty sweet list, pretty sweet goad list. It wasn't all in on the goad plan, since Baeloth does a lot of the heavy lifting, and he kind of lets you set up your engine. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I still have it built. I'm a big graveyard player. Love the graveyard. And what's interesting about this deck is, like, it cares about the graveyard, but it's more about the size of the graveyard, not what I can pull out of it, even though I do have some reanimation in it. It's more about keeping the graveyard full. So it's fun just to see how aggressive you can get with, like, the self-mill and the rummaging to buff up the size of your graveyard without setting up a Living Death or Rise of the Dark Realms, as some of my other graveyard decks would tend to do. This is more of just utility for Baeloth himself. Really fun, really, I think, interesting deck. So this is the first S tier, for sure. Boromir, Gondor's Hope. Boromir. I love Lord of the Rings. I thought the set was really cool. Love the books, the movies, all sorts of that. Besides the Hobbit Precon, which I bought for my wife, this is the first and only Lord of the Rings legend I've built around, and I kind of built around him kind of as a joke. I just wanted to build some like really cheap decks I didn't care about sleeving up, just to like have and play and just be weird with. And he was one of them. I'm like, I'm gonna build Azorius. I'm gonna build Azorius humans and see what it can do. It's fine. I still have it built. It's a budget list. It's a very fair deck. He's gonna smack you up, and the humans are gonna buff each other, and hopefully I can land a True Conviction and double strike everyone out of the game. But it's not very controlling. It's not very good. It's for lower power games. This might be a D tier. I don't think I'm ever going to play him again. He's just sitting on my desk. I'll probably take him apart whenever I need a card in him or need to clear up the space. So, yeah, I think he's our first D tier from a different era of Magic. So Bosh was one of the alternative commanders in the 2014 lineup of commanders. In the Daretti deck. He's fine. I think I built him. I think I only played him once or twice. Was just trying him out. 8 mana is a lot to get him out, and if he's removed, then 10, 12. That's tough. But artifacts are strong, so the deck can carry itself, even if Bosh isn't out there. I do have a fun memory with him, where it was me and my buddy were the final 2 in the game, and I was coming up short with, he was like at 7 life or something, and I was coming up short with like how to get in there and close the game out, and it didn't occur to me that Bosh could throw himself, basically, because it sacrificed an artifact, and my buddy, who was more experienced at Magic at the time than me, was very nice and pointed it out, and we all had a good laugh of that Bosh could just picked himself up and threw himself somehow. So that's a fun memory. I probably D tier. The one memory was fun, but I don't have any desire to go back and play him. There's other interesting artifact commanders out there now, so. Burakos. Another really cool background commander. I built Burakos as for another Secret Santa exchange. I paired him with Haunted One, which gives a buff and gives your creatures that share a creature type with your commander, Undying, which is very good. I built it as a black party aggro list, and boy howdy does it perform. It's very fun, very stronger than you would think. I know the party mechanic can seem kind of gimmicky, but that ability to automatically drain someone and get treasure tokens really helps you with the mana acceleration. And this deck goes pretty hard, pretty fast, especially for mono black, which was kind of a fun experiment, bending those colors a little bit. I put in the deck, Burakos didn't always have to activate Haunted One, since Haunted One specifically says becomes tapped. So you can throw vehicles in there, Springleaf Drum effects to activate him, tap him at instant speed. So that's a good way to get around board wipes and the like, if you suspect someone's going to pull the emergency button. Yeah, the deck performed really well. I spent a lot of time researching and make sure the ratios were correct. And yeah, just was a really solid list. I think I'd give it a B. I don't know if I would build it again for myself, but I'm glad my friend still plays it and has it. And yeah, I guess I can always borrow it from her if I get the itch. Chainer. Oh, Chainer. So, like I said earlier, mono black's my favorite color, or for mono at least. Chainer's really cool. I like him as a character. This version of him, it's very oppressive. It's hard to build a fair version of this deck. It does everything a reanimator wants. You can even grab from other people's graveyards, and the whole exile all nightmares if he leaves is so easy to get around. You just need a free sack outlet, and you can just keep bringing him back. It's so easy. I've built him probably twice, but I would always take him apart after a game or two with him, just because he was too good. You find, even without tutors, you find a Fleshbag Marauder, you find a Kakusho, you find a Gray Merchant, and just keep looping that thing ad nauseum until everyone's dead. And that was always the direction it took. It was hard to stop. Probably not what I want to be doing nowadays. I'd probably put him in the 99 for stuff, but as for leading his own deck, unless my playgroups get really cutthroat, I don't think I will be running him as a commander again. His Rakdos pairing, though, he's a little bit more fair. I think I like this guy a lot. The built-in haste when you reanimate something, or even when you cast him, since it didn't come from your hand, he has haste. That's fun. You can go madness synergies. You can go discard synergies. Reanimation, obviously, that's what he's trying to do. Jumping ahead a little bit, Feldon, Mono Red Feldon is my one of my favorite all-time commanders. And I did take a break from him at one point, and in that interim, I built this Chainer, trying to kind of fill that reanimator void and try and see what Rakdos could do with it. And it was fun. I think I'm on to other reanimator stuff nowadays that interests me more, but I'd still give this a B. I think he's fun. Danitha Capashen. I built her just kind of out of the blue. I called the list Danitha Edgar Markov's Bane, because at the time one of my friends had just gotten in Magic, and we bought him the Edgar Markov Precon, because that was the newest Precon at the time, that set of Precons at the time. Which, looking back, is like, why did we go there? But anyway, yeah. For those that don't remember, that Precon, that Vampire Precon, just wrecked face right out of the box, even against Toon decks. It was just really strong. So I kind of set out to find a deck that could hold up to against Edgar a little bit more. And what I kind of landed on was this weird Danitha Capashen Voltron white control list. I focused in on kind of pariah effects and indestructible effects. So I would have all these creatures with indestructible, and then I would slap a pariah effect on them of some sort, which would redirect all the damage dealt to me to that creature. And since it had indestructible, nothing would happen. And so it became this weird pillow fort Rubik's Cube that my opponents had to figure out how to undo in order to do damage to me. And it was really fun. Yeah, it won a lot of games. It was surprisingly hard to deal with. And then, lay some good equipment or auras on her, and she could start knocking people out. And she had Vigilance and First Strike and Lifelink. So very good keywords. And she came down pretty early too. So I think this caught everyone by surprise how good it was. I don't think it actually lost the 4 or 5 games I played with it. But eventually I disassembled it for some other projects I'm sure I needed the equipment for. Yeah, and just have good memories about her. I'd probably put her at A, just mainly because how much she surprised me, and how it was just a different axis of white than I've ever experienced or played with before. Daretti, I first got with this cycle of precons, which was such a cool cycle. As the first cycle, I was like officially in Magic to witness. So they were all monocolor commanders headed up by planeswalkers. I have a lot of good memories facing these decks out of the box against each other. It was just really fun environment. Daretti, I remember playing him, upgrading his deck a little bit. It was fine. It wasn't really what I was looking to do with mono red. But yeah, ultimately Daretti made way for Feldon, who also came in that pre-con, who became my beloved. And yeah, Daretti just kind of fell to the wayside. So he does some cool things. I'm not the biggest fan of Planeswalkers being my commander. Yeah, I'll put him in C. Derevi, yeah, is what you expect. Is broken. I've built this deck as the oppressive version, and it did what I expected. It crushed the table. I've also tried building it as a bird commander, and it still crushed the table. Just his trigger happening when he ETBs, and then any creature hitting a player, being able to tap or untap something is really strong. And then obviously, goes without saying, just being able to cast him for 4 mana at any point in the game, regardless of how many times he's been killed or removed, is really broken. And yeah, I think he gets an F. Dragonlord Atarka. I don't remember much about this. I just remember every once in a while I get the Gruul bug. I used to play a lot of Gruul back when I first started playing Magic. And Dragonlord Atarka, probably just had a copy of him in my collection. Was like, oh, I wonder what Gruul Dragons looks like, and it's what you expect. You ramp up, you play big dragons and smash people. It's fine. Not what I want to necessarily be doing nowadays with dragons. Everyone likes dragons. Dragons are cool, but I don't necessarily want to play a dragon list. I think D tier. D for dragon. That's how that works, right? Oh, speaking of dragons. Dragonlord Ojutai. This is my favorite of the Dragon Lords on Tarkir. Just the aesthetics, like this monk dragon is just super cool. I like this creature a lot. It's in the 99 of at least one of my current decks right now. I have run it as the commander before, as a straight up Azorius control list, and it is very good. I slap a few equipment on it. It can become a finisher, and then digs you down for more answers. Very good commander. I don't think the list I ran was very fun for anyone except myself. I like being interactive with people, but this was probably a little too far over the line. So I'll put her at B. Our playgroup's at a point where it's an arms race is kind of starting, because we have a few new players in there, and they're going out and buying powerful cards, which is fine. But if it keeps going the trajectory it is, there might be a necessity to have a more controlling player in the group. But we'll see. My rating of Ojutai might change. We'll see. Drana was a part of a commander league we tried. So we started with $50 lists, and then we had like points that you could win. I think you could get a point for killing someone with exactly 21 commander damage, or you cast your commander 3 times in the game. Kind of like what the commander versus guys do at Star City games. Then you take those points and you can redeem them by putting more powerful cards in your list. So each week your deck would get more and more stronger. And Drana was my pick. She turned out to be a really solid commander. She's a great outlet for when you're producing a lot of mana, and being able to kind of snipe anything that doesn't have hexproof or shroud, while also making herself bigger, like makes her a good Voltron finisher. So yeah, I had a good time with her. I think if I built a mono black list today, I'd probably go a different route, but she's very good. I think even today in all the mono black offerings, she can still do a lot. So I'll put her in B tier. Oh yes, the boy. So, like my friend I talked about earlier, I also had the Edgar Markov pre-con when it came out. Just because I thought Soren was a really cool character, and then we're getting his dad for the first time on a card, and you have this freaking epic portrait. Yeah, mistake of a card. It's been trampled on the ground by now of how much of a mistake Eminence was. Yeah, he's too good. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on him because everyone's talked about him. But I did build like an actual deck, upgrade the pre-con list, and yeah, he just cleaned house, and it was very one-sided. Even if you board wiped, he just rebuilt so fast. And Linda's really cool. I've been trying to crack the Orzhov code for a while, and I can never quite get the color combo to do what I want. Like, it sounds like something I would be all about, like things dying and like bringing them back and efficient removal, all sorts of stuff. But for some reason, it just doesn't function the way I want it to. I don't know if it's the mana production or the ramp, or I don't know. Anywho, I did build a Linda deck, and she did some cool stuff. She can get big very quick if you're running tokens, obviously, and stuff. And there's some fun loops you can set up. So yeah, my goal was just kind of to make her as big as possible, and then pop her like a piñata, and then kill everyone through aristocrat effects, or sometimes she would get a Voltron kill. But yeah, she was kind of in the middle. I played her a couple times and took her apart for something else, but she goes in vampire decks, she goes in token decks. Yeah, and I'm glad she's come down in price, because she was kind of pricey there for a while. Put her in the middle. I didn't hate her, but didn't like her a ton either. Elsha of the Infinite. This was a second iteration of a foray into Jeskai. I kind of like the one punch aesthetic that this deck encourages. So we'll get to him later on the list, but Shu Yun was my first try. It was just a budget list of where you were just saving up for one big turn where you just punch someone once and they die. Elsha was kind of a refining of that formula, or at least trying a different strategy. And it was an interesting deck. I think being able to look at the top card of your library and just cast stuff at flash made her pretty resilient. She was a little bit slower than Shuyun, just for the 5 mana get her out, and if she got removed a few times, the deck struggled, because she's your win con. You're looking to Voltron people out with her. So yeah, I think she was cool. I liked this design on her. The prowess is always really good. And I think she's a more fair direction than like maybe the new Narset, for example, or if you just wanted to try something out. And it's not just instants of sorceries, it's artifacts, it's enchantments. You can go a lot of different directions with that, which is fun. So I'll put her in B. I don't know if I'm going to rebuild this deck anytime soon, but you never know. We got a decent start. Got one S tier, Baeloth hanging out by himself. I am excited to keep doing this. This was fun. I'm going to hopefully get the next part posted soon. But yeah, if you enjoyed, stick around for more, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.